All right, guys, this lesson's on central angles and arc measures. So front side, we'll talk about some central angles, and then on the back side, we'll hit up some of the arc length, and I'll give you guys a formula for that once we get going. So kind of quick, not too bad of a lesson today. All right, what's a central angle, guys? A central angle is an angle with its vertex at the center of the circle and whose sides are radii. Remember, radii is plural for radius. You don't say radiuses, you just say radii. Remember, radii, a radius goes from the center of the circle to the edge. So this is a radius, that's a radius. The sum of all the central angles in a circle is 360. Example of the central angle over here, remember, the vertex has to be the middle letter. So I would say this central angle over here would be angle ABC, or I could say angle CBA. Same thing, but I'll just go ABC. Make sure B is in the middle. The center has to be the center letter of your three letters. The degree of the arc formed by the endpoints of the central angle is equal to the degree of the central angle. So for example, if this is 84 degrees right here, this arc degree is also 84 degrees. Okay? They are equal. Central angle is equal to the degree of the arc. Not the length, but the degree of the arc. We'll talk about arc length on the back. This page is all about degrees. Measure is how you read this, guys. You would say M stands for measure. This little guy stands for arc, and then AC. Measure of arc AC is 84 degrees. Measure of arc ADC, A to D to C. Well, I know there's 360 in a circle, right? So I got to take 360 minus that 84, and that gives me 276. So all of this outside here is 276. So if you were to add these two up, that gives you 360. All right, some practice. Before I fill all this stuff in over here, I'm going to fill in over here, guys. Vertical angles, they're the same. That's 21. But now I know half a circle is 180, right? So this plus this has to equal 180. So if I take 180 minus a 21, that gives me 159. So each of these these are vertical, right? 159, 159, 21, 21. Those all add up to 360. All right, for the questions. Measure of arc JK, 21. Measure of central angle JNM, JNM, this guy right here, 159. Measure of arc KL, here's arc KL, 159. Measure of arc JKM, JK all the way to M. So this piece plus that piece plus that piece, 201. Measure of arc MKL, M to K to L. So that piece, and that piece. 339. All right, over here, let's see if we can fill in some pieces. All right, here we go. Look for straight lines. All three of those up there have to add up to 180, right? So if I take 180 minus these two, what's left for arc ST is 21. These two are vertical right here. So UV would also be 72. Then I got a straight line. These two down here to add up to 180. So if I take 180 minus that guy, that leaves me with 108. Forgot my little degrees. Now we can answer the questions. Measure of central angle, UXV. UXV right here, 72. Measure of arc S to T, 21. Measure of arc WV, WV right here, 108. Measure of arc TW, so this piece plus that piece, right? T all the way to W. So these two added up gives you 93. Measure of arc TVW. where's V at? There's V. So T to V to W. So all three of these, T to V to W, all three of those add up to 267. All right, over here. Here's my straight line. That part's 90. This guy has to be 90 over here as well. Here's another straight line. Another straight line right here. This guy's also 90. And these two guys appear add to 90, right? So if I take 90 minus that 34, let's see here. That's going to give me 56. All right, let's answer the questions. Measure of arc CD. C to D, 90. Measure of arc F to D. So all of this right here, 34 and 90, 124. Measure of arc DCF. D, C to F. So that piece, and that piece, 236. Measure of arc G to D to F, G to D to F. So everything but this. So that piece, that piece, that piece, and that piece. That comes out to be 304. Fill in some pieces. Vertical angles, 19. This whole thing is 90. So 90 minus the 19. That gives us 71 right here. I know that's a 90 right there. I have a straight line right here, right? These two add up to 180. So if I take 180 minus that 19, that's going to give me 161. Answer the questions. Measure of arc P to Q, 71. Measure of arc S to R, 161. Measure of arc Q, R to T. Q to R, all the way over to T. So these three right here, basically. That adds up to 199. Measure of arc PSR, P to S to R. So these three right here, P to S to R. So add these up right here. That gives you 270. Measure of arc PS, just these two right here, 90 and 19, 109. All right, going to work. A little more algebra now, a little tougher. Find the value or measure. All right, gotcha. All right, let's fill in some pieces. 26, 26. I got a straight line. So 180 minus 26 is 154, which means this guy is also 154 because of vertical. Let's answer the question. Solve for x. Well, I know this arc degree right here is equal to the central angle's arc, right? So I set this guy equal that guy, solve for x. 15x minus 26 is 154. Add the 26 over, gives me 180. 15 goes in there 12 times. X is 12. All right, over here, number 6. Let's see here. Looking for some vertical angles. Don't see a lot. All right, but here's what we do have. I know all of this is congruent to all of that, right? So 103 is equal to both these at 103, right? Well, I've got 15 of it right here. So if I take the 103 minus the 15, that leaves me with 88. All of this is congruent to all of this, right? Well, I've got 15 of it right here. Just take the 103 minus 15 to get the 88. Now I can set these guys equal to each other. 18x minus 2 is 88. Add the 2 over. 18 goes into 90 5 times. X is 5. All right, over here. Okay, don't know anything about the measures. However, I do know that this angle is congruent to that one because they're vertical, right? So if I want to solve for x first, and then I'll plug it back in and find the pieces, let's set them equal to each other. 10x minus 22 is 8x. plus 12, subtract the 8x over, add 22 over, 2 goes in there 17 times. So x is 17. Then we got to plug it back into some of these, right? So if I take the 17, I plug it back in right here, that gives me 148. So he's also 148. Then if I take a straight line, right, those two guys have to add up to 180. So if I take 180 minus the 148, that leaves me with 32. He's also 32 because they're vertical. Questions? Measure of arc AD. A to D, 148. Measure of arc C to D, 32. Measure of arc B to D to C, so B to D to C. So everything but that, right? So add up these three pieces right here. Comes out to be 212, I believe. Next page. A couple more like this. All right. Here's what I know about this guy, right? That's a straight line. That means these two guys have to add up to 180, right? So this guy plus that guy equals the 180. Combine like terms. I have 22x. 23 negative 41 is negative 18 equals 180. Add the 18 over is 198. 22 goes in there 9 times. X is 9. Plugging that 9 back in, this gives me 68. Plug 9 back in here, that's 112. Then vertical angles. 112, 68. Questions? Measure of arc JK, 68. Measure of arc MJ, 112. Measure of arc L, where's L? L to M, all the way over to K. So these three pieces right here, right? L to M to K, 248. All right, kind of tricky one here, right? I know I have a 90 right here. If I take this piece, and that piece, that has to be 270. If I take 360, which is your whole circle, minus this 90, that leaves me with 270. So all three of these pieces right here have to add up to 270. So combine like terms, equal it to 270. You have 39 x's. Constants comes out to be negative 3 equals 270. Add 3, divide by 39, x comes out to be 7. Plugging it back into all three of the pieces, this gives you 56. This is 135, and the bottom is 79, and we know we've got the 90 over here. If you add all four of those up, you get 360. All right, measure of arc W to X. W to X, 135. Y to W, so these two right here, 135. I'm sorry, 146. Y to X, 79. And the big guy, V to X to W. So all three of these right here comes out to be 304. All right, last section, guys, arc length. It says the length of an arc is a proportion of the circumference. All right. Cursive L stands for arc length. Two pieces. Take your central angle, we'll call it X, divide that by 360, and then you got times that by circumference, right? Now your circumference, you can use 2 times pi times radius, or another form you could use is central angle divided by 360, same as before, times pi times diameter. Remember, these two both work for circumference, so it doesn't really matter. First part stays the same. This one uses radius. This guy uses diameter, but you will get the same exact answer. So these are your formulas for arc length. One uses radius, one uses diameter. You can use either one you want. You will get the same exact answer. All right, 10 says find the length of arc CD. All right, well, first I need the central angle, right? Take 180 minus that 68, 112. Okay. Tells us the radius is 15, right? E to B is just a radius, it's not diameter, right? So if I'm given the radius, I can use this guy right here. So arc length, central angle is 112. Divide by 360 times 2 times pi times radius. Just push the buttons. That's all you got to do. Answer comes out to be 29.32. Label is centimeters. So the two pieces you need, central angle and radius. That's all you need. All right, directions. N to R is 8. That's radius. N to R. Find the length of N to M to P. N to M to P. Oof, all of this, right? All right, we got some work. 180, right? 180 minus 162 comes out to be 18, which means that guy's also 18, right? All right, it went from N to M to P, so all three of these, right? So if I add up all three of these right here, that comes out to be 198. Okay, formula. Central angle is 198 divided by 360. I have the radius, so 2 times pi times 8. Just type it all in. 27.65 feet. V to S, now check us out. V to S is a diameter, right? If this whole thing is 12, each of these have to be 6, so that's your radius. Find length of UT, this piece right here, right? Well, we got to fill in some pieces here. We can do this. All right. All of this is congruent to all of that, right? Those are vertical angles. So if this whole thing is 127, this whole thing is 127, but I've got 90 of it right here. So if I take the 127 minus this 90 right here, I'm left with 37 for this piece right here. And that's what I need. That's the key piece that I need right there. All right, so arc length, central angle is 37 for UT. Divide by 360 times 2 times pi times radius, which is 6. Push the buttons, you should get 3.87 meters. Okay, let's see here. J to H is 21. So J to H is your diameter, right? So if I cut that in half, that's 10.5 for the radius. Find length of K to J to G. Oof, I got to fill in some pieces over here, right? You can do this. Straight line, 180, right? Take 180 minus the 85. Let's see here. 180 minus the 85, 95. So this guy is 95. That guy's 95 because they're vertical. And we've got enough information, guys. We got to go from K to J to G. So I got to add up all of these right here. It's a big guy because let's be 334. So if you add up K to J to G, these all add up to 334. Divide that by 360 times 2 times pi times radius, which is 10.5. Answer comes out to be 5.83 inches. F to G is 27. That's your radius. Find length of FED. FED. All of this right here. All right. Well, I know in a circle, it adds up to 360. I've got 80 here, 47 here, 90 here. Add those three up, subtract from 360 to get this guy right here. Let's see here. So 360 minus the 80 minus the 47 minus the 90, 143. All right, so then from F to E to D, if I add these two up right here, that gives me 233. Or let's figure it out. 27, 143 plus 27, 170. So F to E to D is 127. All right, arc length. F to E to D, central angle is 127. Oh, hold on. Timeout. We got 90 plus the 143. 90 plus 143. 233. Sorry. 233. That's better. Central angle is 233 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times the radius, which was 27. Push the buttons correctly, you should get 109.8 yards. Last one, W to S. That is a radius. So your radius is 4.5. Find length to TS, this guy right here, right? All right, we got a little bit of work here. Let's fill in some pieces. There's a 180 right there, right? So 180 minus 128, 52. These guys are vertical angles. He's also 52. That guy's 31. All right, let's check this out. Straight line. 180, right? You got 52 of it here, 31 of it here. What's left for TS? 97. So if you take the 180 minus 52 minus the 31, you're left with 97. So this central angle, 97 degrees. T-dash, 97. Central angle, 97, divide by 360, times 2, times pi, times radius, which is 4.5. Push the buttons, 7.62 millimeters. That is it for central angles and arc length.